CBC Evening News.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lloyd with the CBC Evening News and our top story. It appears that more and more local students are choosing to pursue tertiary education abroad these days in spite of the higher costs. And it may be linked to government's introduction of tuition fees 2 years ago. Shane Seeley has that story.
The Student Center is an online one-stop shop for students seeking the best option for their tertiary education. And its managing director, Sheena Aline, says recent trends suggest that the government's tuition fee implemented at the UWI Cave Hill campus in September 2013 has prompted more Barbadian students to further their studies abroad.
Over the last 2 years, we have seen an increase in those students who are opting, because of the change of fees now especially, to go abroad one time. The traditional trend was to do your 3 years at UWI, get your undergraduate degree, and then invest at the graduate level. But the world is changing.
Ms. Aline revealed the news at the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with Innotech for her initiative Study Caribbean, which promotes Barbados and the Caribbean as a prime study destination. She hopes it will make the Cave Hill campus, along with other local and regional institutions, the preferred choice for international students. The Student Center director also revealed another startling trend. An increasing number of people with degrees up to master's level are having big problems finding employment.
We have lots of persons that are 22 or 24 years old with master's degrees but can't get work. Why? Because for a master's degree in most other destinations, you require 8 years work experience. So the students that normally come to me, I would say, well, you don't have 8 years work experience at 24. So therefore, you're going to have to start from the bottom and go up. So students and parents now being better informed, not just about study pathways and options, but just about how the labor market works in the relevant areas they're interested in, also operate and what it requires. We are not just about picking a school or just about showing them programs that sound to our students, for lack of a better term, cute. This is a livelihood we're growing. They have to be able to sustain themselves.
That's why Ms. Aline says the MOU with Innotech is so important. It will put Barbados in a better position to attract more international students. And it may encourage more students here to see the Cave Hill campus as option number one, despite the tuition fees. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
Well, meanwhile, we hear that government is on a mission to get greater returns from its approximately $500 million investment in education. The Ministry of Education is reportedly working with the European Union consultants to assess the structure of tertiary education and determine how it can generate revenue for the country. Senior Education Officer Dr. Roderick Rudder says that higher education as we know it must be modified from being seen as solely a public good to an economic good. And during the signing of the MOU between the Student Center and Innotech, he explained that the aim is to attract more foreign students.
The Ministry of Education is currently examining the current environment to determine the extent to which we can create that enabling environment that would allow us to move in a new direction that would facilitate both our national development in terms of our human resources, but also the economic development of the country by attracting business through education services.
And for local construction firm Innotech, education is proving to be a lucrative sector. CEO Martin De Silva says the company has been providing construction services for the Cave Hill campus and other schools in Barbados, and there's growing demand for its work across the region.
In St. Lucia, we are in the process of expanding the current school. So there again, you see our involvement in education, and that job is nearing completion. Innotech is also currently expanding further into the Caribbean region with continued developments of various campuses and schools across the region. Earlier this week, or last week I should say, we were invited to participate in a design and build initiative for one of the governments in the Caribbean region for a brand new school. Of course, I can't go into much of it right now. The ink isn't quite dry, but again, we see our involvement in education across the region as well.
Well, the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union has given its members at the Combermere School the green light to head back to the classroom next month for the start of the new school year. But in a media briefing this afternoon, President Marianne Redmond says the BSTU is still concerned about environmental problems at 2 other secondary schools. Ms. Redmond says most of the major issues at the Combermere School have been resolved. This follows the closure of the Waterford St. Michael institution last term due to environmental concerns. The students were temporarily housed at the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic and the Erdeston Teachers Training College. Ms. Redmond says a recent environmental study conducted at the institution has paved the way for teachers and students to return.
We heard reports from the Chief Medical Officer, from our EA EnviroHealth, from the EPIU, Education Project Implementation Unit at the Ministry of Education, and based on all that has been reported to us, our major areas of concern from all the information available seem to have been addressed and or are in the process of being addressed. And based on that, we are saying to our members that they can return to Combermere School come September.
Ms. Redmond says the union has also been given the assurance that issues surrounding the disposal of unused or expired chemicals will be addressed in a timely manner. She also revealed that an epidemiological study will be done at Combermere involving only staff. The union head went on to highlight environmental issues at 2 other schools.
Environmental issues related to the fact that, again, maintenance, especially at foundation, and the age of the buildings, sorry, I should say plural, at Harrison College.
Ms. Redmond says the union will be keeping a close eye on those situations. Well, more news in just a moment, but first we want to get your take on this question. Do you think local students should pay more to study overseas rather than go to the K-Phil campus? You can text yes or no to short code 8111 and we'll have the results for you at the end of our news.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Sharing everything is our style. No camera can capture our magic. But when a cold hits, my head is somewhere else. I need that cold out and life back in.
When a cold keeps you away, reach for Panadol Multi-Symptoms. Clinically proven ingredients for a total response to help clear your physical symptoms.
So I can be fully there for them.
Panadol Multi-Symptoms. When the cold is gone, life takes its place.
The sargassum seaweed plaguing the region's beaches may be the Caribbean's greatest threat. This is the view of the University of the West Indies Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles, who is calling for an international response to the problem. The over 10,000 tons of seaweed coming to Caribbean shores daily is threatening the region's most vital business, the tourist industry. And if measures are not put in place swiftly, the Caribbean could become synonymous with ugly beaches. This is the view of University of the West Indies Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles. His comments came during a sargassum symposium by UWI to develop an action plan to tackle the issue. Sir Hilary would like to see a regional response that includes a sargassum support fund established, with contributions also coming from the international community.
We have all endorsed the objectives of building resilient economies in the Caribbean as small nation states. We have all been involved in these global conversations about the sustainability of islands, small nations in the global space. Herein is an endemic and systemic threat to the resilience and to development of these nations, and therefore we must have an international response to this.
In addition, Sir Hilary is calling for a sargassum emergency agency headed by the University of the West Indies. He thinks the problem is here to stay and can only be properly tackled through a united regional effort.
Here on this campus, there is Surmis and our colleagues have distinguished themselves over the years in respect of our marine environments and our beaches and, of course, the life forms that occupy our marine environment. All of this has to be coordinated, and it must be placed in a systemic way so as to attract the necessary funding in order to do what needs to be done.
Recent sargassum woes are not exclusive to the Caribbean, and Sir Hilary says countries such as Mexico have been successful in the fight against it. A 6-bedroom home was saved from being destroyed by fire after a blaze of unknown origin broke out in one of the rooms of the Skeets Road Jackman St. Michael home on Saturday. That wooden home is owned by Frederica Pyle. The fire damaged some contents of the room and the ceiling. Well, students from last year's Fire Cadet program are now better equipped to handle fire hazards. For the first time, the Barbados Fire Service is introducing an advanced level course in fire prevention to this group of students. The one-week course will touch on areas like fire safety and fire analysis. Speaking at the General Post Office during the opening of that program, Station Officer at the Barbados Fire Service, Henderson Patrick, told students to use the knowledge to help those in their communities.
Once you have left this program, it is not that you're going to take the information and go out and put it on a shelf and hide it. The expectation is that you'll be able to assist people in your own community. You'll be able to tell them about fire safety. You'll be able to assist persons in the installation of smoke alarms. You'll be able to tell people when the smoke alarm is not functioning properly, what they need to do. You'll be able to help us with our hazard analysis of the various communities that you live in.
Well, by next year, Barbadians can expect a more creative Grand Kadooment celebration. Word of this from Wayne Webster, the administration manager of the National Cultural Foundation. His comments come amidst concerns that the 4-day morning jam is taking over the local festival. Mr. Webster says that although 4-day morning is still the fastest growing event, steps are being taken to ensure that Grand Kadooment does not die.
With the support of the new sponsor, the Republic Bank for the Grand Kadooment, the NCF has commenced a process of providing incentives geared towards challenging band leaders to be more creative with the costumes they produce for Grand Kadooment.
And also speaking to the issue of creativity in Grand Kadooment was Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley. He says that bands should explore some of the themes used in Kiddies Kadooment to find the needed creativity.
Many stories were told by our children as they paraded inside the National Stadium during Junior Kadooment. I want to hasten to add that we are not against pretty masks, but let us try to bring a balance to our portrayals, even if it is just a section or two which impactfully tell our Barbadian story.
A government official says that the Urban Development Commission remains an important part of the island's social safety net. And according to Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Senator Patrick Todd, the UDC's mandate is important. And his comments came during a Thanksgiving service marking the corporation's 18th anniversary at Covenant Life Teaching Center. UDC empowering and enriching urban communities is the theme of the week of celebrations.
Providing very much needed interventions in terms of house repairs or complete house reconstruction to many persons in the urban corridor, which stretches from St. James throughout St. Michael and as far as Christchurch and as far as the Oistins area. And I know that many people, including war veterans, the poor, the indigent, have been able to get this tangible assistance in terms of improving their living conditions, in terms of their housing.
Director of the UDC, Derek Aline, commended staff for their dedication and perseverance.
As I stand here, I can see that there's good hope because there's perseverance, and in that perseverance there's self-belief, there's confidence, and them seeing the hard work and the trust in God. And I want to thank you for inviting us and having us in this sanctuary. And I know it will grow.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But first, a reminder that we want to hear from you on this question. Do you think local students should pay more to study overseas rather than go to the Cayfield campus? Text yes or no to short code 8111, the result at the end of the news. And you can also follow us on Twitter at CBC_Newsroom and on our Facebook page, CBC Newsroom Barbados.